It is a world unto itself, a universe of flavor, aroma, and texture, all found on a single counter. It can be soft and decadent, a wheel of French brie patiently waiting to ooze its creamy, buttery center. It can be sharp and bold, the intricate blue-green veins of a powerful Roquefort, a flavor that bites back. It can be playful, the iconic nutty taste of Swiss Emmental, a masterpiece of microbiology famous for its holes. Or it can be a giant, aged for years, a massive wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano, so hard it must be cracked open. In our homes, it's the snow that falls on our pasta, the final touch that makes a dish complete. It's the gooey, delicious stretch that makes pizza. Pizza, a simple food of comfort and joy. But among all these famous names, there is one king, the world's most popular cheese, the humble yet mighty block of amber-colored English cheddar. Look closer. It's not just a simple block. You can see the crystals, the tiny markers of time, promising a sharp, complex flavor. But have you ever wondered, how is it really made? This is the journey of cheddar. Our journey begins not in a kitchen, but here, in the quiet mist of the English countryside. This is the Cotswolds. The secret to great cheese starts with the secret to great milk. It starts with a healthy, happy cow, grazing on grass, rich with morning dew. The very flavor of the landscape will soon become the flavor of the cheese. For centuries, the process was an intimate ritual. A farmer, a stool, and a journey to an iconic red barn. A farmer walking to the barn, carrying the classic metal pails, a scene repeated for generations. This traditional way, the rhythmic work of hands, builds a connection between the animal and the farmer. The sound of fresh, warm milk hitting the pail, a sound that has signaled the start of the day for centuries. But today, quality and hygiene are paramount. In modern European farms, this process is transformed. Automated systems ensure the milk is untouched, flowing directly from the source through hygienic glass tubes into vast, chilled stainless steel tanks, where it is immediately cooled to preserve its freshness. But it cannot continue its journey just yet. Immediately, samples are taken, tested on-site, and analyzed in labs for quality, fat content, and purity. Only the best milk will earn the right to become cheddar. Once approved, the milk's first journey begins, transported in temperature-controlled tankers, leaving the quiet farm, and driving through the vast Swiss Alps, arriving at the creamery, where the true transformation will start. At the creamery, the milk's journey is far from over. It is immediately pumped from the tanker through a maze of gleaming steel pipes. The first step is vital: pasteurization. The milk is gently heated to a precise temperature, just enough to remove any harmful bacteria, while protecting the flavor. After pasteurization, the milk is cooled and sent to its next destination, the cheese vat. This vat is where the magic truly begins. The milk is warmed again, but this time to a much gentler temperature. Now, the first of two magic ingredients is added: the starter cultures. These are carefully selected good bacteria. They will begin to eat the milk sugars and, crucially, create the lactic acid that gives cheddar its famous sharp taste. Large mechanical paddles begin to stir, mixing the cultures evenly throughout the milk. After the cultures have worked for about an hour, it's time for the second magic ingredient: rennet. This natural enzyme is the transformer. It holds the key to turning liquid milk into a solid. The rennet is diluted in water and then added to the vat, mixing quickly, and then everything stops. The milk is left perfectly still. Now we wait. Under the surface, a silent transformation is happening. The rennet is working, causing the milk proteins to bond slowly, turning the entire vat of liquid milk into one single, fragile solid, like a giant custard. After about 30 minutes of waiting, the cheesemaker must check if the set is ready. They test for the clean break. The cheesemaker makes a small cut, and then gently lifts the curd. If it breaks cleanly, like glass and clear, yellowish liquid seeps out. This is the Whey. It means the transformation is perfect. The liquid is now a solid. The next stage can begin. The wait is over. The giant, solid set must now be cut. Once, this was done by hand with giant harps. But today, in modern facilities, this is done with precision giant, automated cutting blades. One set cutting horizontally, the other vertically, slice the single solid mass into millions of tiny, perfect cubes. This cutting is crucial, as the size of the cubes determines how much moisture the final cheese will have. As soon as the curds are cut, they begin to separate from the liquid. This liquid is the whey. Now, a new process begins. Cooking the curds. The entire mixture is gently heated and continuously stirred. This cooking forces the curds to shrink and expel more and more whey. This stirring is critical. If it stops, the curds will sink and clump together, ruining the cheese. After cooking, the time has come. The curds are firm, and the whey must be drained. A torrent of nutrient-rich whey is released, flowing into collection pipes. This whey is not waste. It will be collected and processed into whey protein, a valuable product in its own right. Back in the vat, as the sea of whey disappears, a new landscape is revealed, a giant mat of freshly fused curds. They look like a giant block of pale yellow cheese. The cheesemakers now begin to push this giant mat, consolidating it. This process, separating the curds from the whey, is the most dramatic transformation so far. Now, the giant slabs of curd are ready for the most important step, the step that gives this cheese its name. Before the next step, the last remaining whey is drained from the bottom, and large cutting knives are brought in to cut this massive mat into manageable blocks. The cheesemaker scores the mat, planning the cuts precisely. Then, with strength and precision, they make the first cut. The mat is cut into large, loaf-sized blocks. These blocks are the curd, but they are not yet cheddar. They are carefully lifted from the vat and prepared for the unique and crucial process that truly defines cheddar. With the curds now drained and in manageable blocks, the true art of cheddaring begins. Each block is carefully turned over by hand, allowing the last drops of whey to drain away. This turning and stacking continues for hours. The weight of the upper blocks presses down on those below. This self-pressing action further expels whey and, crucially, fuses the curds tightly together. After an hour or two, the texture of the curd changes dramatically. It becomes smooth, elastic, and dense. This unique texture is the hallmark of cheddar. It's called cheddaring. Now, the blocks are ready for the next stage of cheddaring, mincing. The conveyor carries them towards a powerful mechanical mincer, a machine designed to shred the curds inside. Rotating blades rip the dense curd into smaller pieces. The shredded curds emerge from the mincer, looking like thick yellow noodles or rice. Now comes a critical step for flavor, salting. The salt adds a vital sharpness and helps preserve the cheese. The curds are then gently but thoroughly mixed, ensuring every piece is coated. The salted curds are now truly cheddared. They have the characteristic texture and flavor profile. From here, the curds are ready to be put into molds for pressing. Each mold is filled to the brim, ensuring a dense, solid final cheese. Once filled, the molds are moved to the press room, where enormous hydraulic presses await. Each mold is placed carefully under a press plate. With a hiss of hydraulics, the heavy plates descend, applying immense pressure. This pressure forces the curds to knit together into a single, solid, dense mass, eliminating all air pockets. The last of the whey is squeezed out, dripping from the bottom of the press. After several hours of this intense pressure, the press is released, and the block is removed. The cheese is now a solid, pale wheel, but it's not finished. The block is then flipped, wrapped in a fresh, clean cheesecloth, and put back into the press for a second, longer pressing, often overnight. The next morning, the cheese emerges, a single, perfectly dense and smooth wheel. While traditional cheese is round, modern U.S. factories often press the curd into large 40-pound blocks. These blocks are then immediately vacuum-sealed in heavy-duty plastic to lock in freshness. The cheddaring and pressing process is complete. The blocks are ready to be moved. The cheese now exists, but it is not yet cheddar. It is green cheese, lacking all flavor. Its final and longest journey is about to begin. The heavy door closes, sealing the cheese in its new home, the aging cellar. Here, there is no machinery, no rush, only time. While modern cheese is sealed, traditional cheddar is aged on wooden shelves, often wrapped in cloth. The conditions must be perfect. A constant, cool temperature and high humidity. Inside this green cheese, the cultures and enzymes are not dead. They are just beginning their real work. This is a slow, silent transformation. Days become weeks, and weeks become months. For the traditional wheels, the work is not over. They must be turned by hand and brushed to manage the natural mold rind and ensure the moisture is distributed evenly. At 6 months, the cheese is mild. But for true cheddar, the wait continues. At 12 months, it becomes sharp. Inside, the enzymes have been working for a full year, breaking down proteins, a process called proteolysis. But how do they know when it's ready? They can't just open it. This is where the cheese grater comes in. They use a special tool called a cheese iron, or trier. With a practiced motion, They plunge the iron deep into the center of the cheese, pulling out a long core sample, or plug. First, the grater checks the texture, crumbling it between their fingers to check the body. Next, the aroma. They smell the plug, searching for the complex, nutty, and sharp notes. Finally, the taste. This is where the magic of time is truly revealed. They are looking for the crystals, tiny, crunchy bursts of flavor, calcium lactate, that only form after long, proper aging. The grater nods. The cheese is no longer green. It is aged. It is finally cheddar. The wait is over. The grater has given their approval. The cheese is no longer green. It is cheddar. At the same time, the traditional UK wheels, now hard and intensely flavorful, are also brought out of their ancient cellars. For the traditional wheels, the cloth is removed, and the hard rind is cleaned one last time. A heavy-duty wire cutter is then used to split the giant wheel into more manageable wedges for delis. This cut reveals the beautiful, crumbly, and crystalline interior that a year of aging has created. These wedges are then vacuum-sealed, ready for specialty shops. Meanwhile, the large 40-pound US blocks are moved to the consumer cutting room. Here, automation takes over. A robotic arm removes the outer plastic and feeds the bare block into an automated wire-cutting grid. In a single, precise motion, the large block is cut into small, consumer-sized bricks. The new bricks now travel down a high-speed automated packaging line. Each one is individually placed into plastic and vacuum-sealed by a form-fill-seal machine. And finally, after a journey of over a year, it receives its identity. The finished packages are inspected by a laser scanner for quality and then automatically boxed, ready for their journey. From the factory, the cheese is loaded onto refrigerated trucks, traveling across the country, from the farm to your hometown. It arrives at its final destination before yours, the store, where a hand, just like yours, makes the final choice. From a grassy field, to a factory, to a long, dark wait, the cheese is finally home. Its journey is finally complete, ready to be sliced, to be shredded, to be layered in a classic sandwich, and melted to gooey perfection. It's the crown on a perfect US cheeseburger, the sharp flavor that brings it all together. It's the heart of comfort food, like a perfect macaroni and cheese, or just a simple pleasure, enjoyed with a glass of wine. From a simple ingredient, a long journey for a perfect bite. This was the journey of cheddar.